Rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine appeared
6ix9ine would definitely take the top spot if the entertainment industry established a ranking specifically for celebrities who are incarcerated. A king of both music and legal issues, he has served time in prison and appeared in court at least 6 times. However, a few years ago, when he was at the top of his game, 6ix9ine was a household celebrity who rocked the music industry and enthralled young Americans. He had a thriving music empire, a multi-million-dollar mansion, high-end luxury jewelry, and an extremely rare collection of supercars. 6ix9ine has now...
You hear me? You got 1 house right here, 2 houses right here, 3 houses right here, 4 houses right here, 5 houses right here.
fallen into the shadows of chilly jail bars after being acclaimed as the hip-hop industry's master troll. All of it resulted from a careless choice that even Tekashi 69 didn't foresee would turn out to be the most devastating conclusion of his life. Tekashi 69, whose real name is Daniel Hernandez, was never a typical rapper. He had several run-ins with the authorities even before he started working in showbiz. However, his brash nature seemed unaffected by those experiences. He entered the public eye in 2017 with a well-defined plan. His route to stardom would involve strategic attention-grabbing theatrics rather than just natural aptitude as planned. 6ix9ine made his public debut with a furious scream rap sound, a body covered in 69 tattoos, and a dazzling rainbow-colored haircut. His October 2017 release of his debut track, Gummo, went viral as planned, making him a worldwide sensation. 6ix9ine hit his first career high at the age of just 22, a recording contract worth $7.5 million, a headphone endorsement deal worth $4, $9 million, and more than $10 million from his debut album, Dummy Boy. These astounding numbers not only demonstrated his commercial appeal, but also turned 6ix9ine into a live brand and a lucrative enterprise with a significant impact outside of New York. But he felt he was invincible because success came too readily and too rapidly. This conceit set the stage for his life's sad course and sowed the seeds. For his early mistakes, 6ix9ine's lifestyle at the time was the epitome of luxury. His daily accessories included a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, a Rolls-Royce Ghost, a Lamborghini Urus, diamond chains, and millions of dollars worth of Richard Mille watches. He threw piles of cash into the air in his movies as though they were worthless. Additionally, he bluntly stated on Instagram that money rules everything. 6ix9ine...
Look at that. That's 50. 100. Let's keep it going. 150. 200.
6ix9ine genuinely lived like a king, enjoying the radiance of celebrity and the unquestionable power of riches. However, he was so engrossed in this way of life that he was unaware of how his thoughts and behavior were slowly transforming him into a person who disregarded social norms and boundaries, silently bringing him closer to the brink of a cliff. 6ix9ine was too engrossed in his enjoyment to notice the tiny alterations. While tragedy hit quickly and violently in November 2018, while the spotlight still seemed to be shining brightly, 6ix9ine was caught off guard. Hidden behind the ostentatious videos and million-view hits during the height of his stardom, 6ix9ine's conceit caused him to venture too far into the perilous realm of the 9 Trey gangster bloods. He actively took part in the gang's illicit actions rather than only using their image to create a gangster reputation. The violent music videos, offensive lyrics, and intimate connections to gang members weren't just publicity gimmicks. They were a part of his life. Although this relationship contributed to his popularity and appeal, it also subtly put him in danger from the police. On November 18, 2018, everything fell apart. Following months of investigation, 6ix9ine and important members of the 9 Trey gangster bloods were arrested by the FBI. The operation broke the idea of invincibility 6ix9ine had talked about, and it was quick and relentless. Under the media's close observation, he was dragged from his opulent New York apartment, handcuffed, and led away. The arrest became widely publicized, taking over headlines and social media. The public, which included both outspoken detractors and loyal followers, was taken aback by the development. A celebrity who had previously loudly declared himself untouchable was now a criminal who could lose 47 years of his life as a result of his actions. With his bright rainbow hair and smug smile, 6ix9ine was no longer the king of New York in the courtroom. Rather, the prosecution presented a long list of grave accusations, including extortion, drug trafficking, illegal weapons possession, and conspiracy to commit murder, leaving the 22-year-old speechless and shaking. 6ix9ine was thrown into the identical pit he had made for himself with each accusation, which felt like a horrible irony. However, the case's greatest shock was still to come. 6ix9ine shocked his admirers with an incredible move a few days after his incarceration. By cooperating with the FBI and giving them in-depth information of their operations, he breached a fundamental rule in the hip-hop community: never betray your gang. Some saw this as a calculated move that saved him from receiving a 47-year sentence in exchange for only 2 years in prison. 6ix9ine gave thorough details regarding the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods activities during the hearing. He also identified former brothers, including gang leaders Anthony Harv Ellison and Aljamia Nuke Mack, and revealed information concerning robberies, shootings, and drug trafficking committed by the gang. In addition to criminal activity, his testimony included behind-the-scenes tales, such how 9 Trey used 6ix9ine's notoriety to further their power. He described every event, from premeditated assaults to gang strife, with remarkable detail. Although 6ix9ine avoided a severe term by cooperating with police, the hip-hop community nevertheless reacted negatively to his action. Working with law authorities to expose associates is viewed as an unforgivable betrayal in this community. Because of this, when 6ix9ine exited the courtroom, well-known musicians like Snoop Dogg, The Game, and Jim Jones publicly denounced him as a snitch and said he had lost his place in the business. Nor did the public remain silent. Thousands of memes and articles ridiculed him on social media as the #snitch9ine swiftly gained popularity. Once admirers of his brash demeanor abandoned him because they thought he had compromised the very criminal reputation he had built. The general opinion was encapsulated in a tweet from a former fan. "I thought 6ix9ine was real, but turns out he's just an actor, a traitor who doesn't deserve respect." It may have been anticipated that 6ix9ine would alter after the tough 2 years of incarceration and the intense wave of criticism. Contrary to predictions, however, 6ix9ine did not opt for a quiet or covert approach to rebuild his career after being freed in April 2020 after less than 2 years because of his cooperation. Rather, he stepped out of the darkness with unrelenting haughtiness. He continued to believe that he was the undisputed monarch of New York, capable of overcoming any criticism and regaining his position of prominence via charm alone. He staged an Instagram live stream right after his release, which at the time attracted a record-breaking 2 million people. He did not apologize or show any regret during the stream. Rather, he boasted, "I'm still here," and made fun of people who accused him of being a snitch. While you're out there tapping away at your keyboards, you're still here and earning money. 6ix9ine didn't stop there. He kept showing off his lavish lifestyle as though his previous legal issues were minor annoyances. In addition, he refused to enroll in a witness protection program, which many saw as a very audacious decision, particularly after he had testified against 9 Trey Gangster Bloods members who might have sought revenge. However, 6ix9ine appeared to be certain that his celebrity and fame would protect him from harm. His unbridled conceit was the last nail in his career's coffin. If the legal troubles had already started to turn the public against him, with tens of millions of dollars, 6ix9ine was once regarded as the king of New York, but he wrecked his own empire all by himself. He signed a new $10 million contract with One OK Projects after being released. which is anticipated to be the return of a once dominant star. But the punch of reality was severe. Only 53,000 copies of his album Tattletales were sold in its first week, which was a dismal number that revealed the harsh reality that the public had utterly lost faith in him. His once audacious fans now viewed him as an inauthentic rapper who depended more on drama than musical skill. New audiences, meanwhile, saw little justification for backing a performer who was called a snitch. After this devastating setback, 6ix9ine went back to his tried-and-true methods.
Rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine's bling is going up for auction. The auction is happening to pay back the IRS. Includes 63 pieces ranging from jewelry to handbags to plaques to watches and earrings. There's even Bruce the Shark from Finding Nemo, covered in over 7,000
true methods. He bombarded Instagram with pictures of gleaming jewels, expensive automobiles, and piles of cash. But he wasn't just showing off his wealth on the internet. He publicly criticized his detractors, which included well-known performers like Snoop Dogg, Lil Durk, and Meek Mill. He called Meek Mill a loser and challenged him to a boxing match, while also making fun of Lil Durk for losing his close friend King Von. 6ix9ine was swiftly the focus of public indignation due to these haughty behaviors. Users referred to him as a clown and a drama magnet on internet forums, someone who sparked controversy to remain relevant, but was unable to convert that attention into actual success. 6ix9ine's financial issues surfaced as he battled to keep up his online reputation as the King of New York, revealing his careless money management. He was accused of hurting a victim during a fight at a nightclub in New York in 2018, and court filings surprisingly showed that he owed $9.8 million in damages. He also owed an astounding $10 million in unpaid income taxes between 2020 and 2023, which demonstrated his inability to fulfill his financial commitments. In order to collect the unpaid taxes, the IRS so secretly got ready to take his assets. From within, the empire he had constructed on bluster and scandal was collapsing. In addition to his financial difficulties, 6ix9ine kept running into legal problems after being released from prison, as though he hadn't learned from his sins. He was arrested in the Dominican Republic in 2021 for trying to perform without the necessary permissions and breaking immigration laws. In addition to resulting in a brief incarceration, this incident severely tarnished his reputation globally, that he broke his probationary rules back in the United States, which included traveling without authorization and not taking the required drug tests, which were put in place to keep an eye on his behavior once he was released. 6ix9ine also had to deal with a number of civil challenges, ranging from claims of violence to disagreements over contracts with business partners. One prominent instance concerned an alleged assault on a staff member at a nightclub in Miami in 2020. These occurrences strengthened 6ix9ine's reputation as someone who was unchangeable and constantly involved in legal issues, even if they were not as serious as the previous charges associated with the 9 Trey gangster bloods. The repercussions were unavoidable. Following several warnings, the IRS finally took serious action and seized all of 6ix9ine's assets in order to collect unpaid taxes after a string of haughty behavior, bad financial management, and persistent legal troubles. Once seen in his Instagram pictures and music videos, the bright yellow Lamborghini Urus was seized from a government storage facility. Another example of his extravagant lifestyle, the Rolls-Royce Ghost, was sold at auction for a small portion of its original price. Once displayed as a trophy, the $500,000 Richard Mille watch was placed up for sale online, eliciting derisive remarks from the general public. Once a source of pride, his gold and platinum albums were now collecting dust in an IRS warehouse. When considering 6ix9ine today, his trajectory serves as a warning about the price of celebrity without morals or accountability. Millions of people who once loved his distinctive style and tremendous energy no longer respected him. On YouTube, a fan stated, "I missed the early days watching Gummo when he was just a quirky guy with colored hair. recalling a period before 6ix9ine was marred by controversies. However, his response to criticism, which ranged from downplaying crimes to displaying treason, alienated even his most devoted supporters. Despite efforts to maintain his career with songs like Lel, Viva, and Blackballed, 6ix9ine was unable to regain his previous level of success. His social media updates now only draw a small portion of the following he had at the height of his popularity, and Lelo failed to chart. The grim fact was summed up by a Reddit user who commented, "He can keep making music, but no one will take him seriously anymore." His reputation as irredeemable was further cemented by his repeated arrests, which ranged from probation violations to domestic violence accusations in the Dominican Republic. Even if 6ix9ine makes an effort to show up on TikTok or Instagram, he will never be able to reclaim the supportive community and unshakable trust that he formerly enjoyed. A once dazzling star will always be associated with failure and treachery due to questions about his ethics and actions. According to a comment on X, he had everything but destroyed it all himself, and that's possibly the most agonizing lesson this tale imparts.